his character throughout the film, before I start jumping around a bit between scenes. Our first impression of Anton's appearance is...
What do you think about it? What are your thoughts? It's a genius.
These motherfuckers talk out the side of their motherfucking neck. They don't understand what they saying. They young.
His hair doesn't quite match his face, and his clothes don't fit his appearance either.
You can't call yourself that if you haven't even been through that Bone Thugs have been through.
He has a cold blank stare on his face more often than not, and shows only a few semblances of joy when speaking to other characters about grim subjects.
You know what I'm saying? These niggas got songs with Tupac and Biggie. Tupac and Biggie.
His voice is low, quiet, and gravelly, and he never raises it in anger or otherwise.
But you niggas want to sweep the whole fucking 90s under the motherfucking rug.
Sometimes stiff, fluid, and strange. Take when he's eating his peanuts at the gas station. There's just something about the way he places each piece into his mouth that feels off. Off. Yet at the same time, he has the precision and steady hand to sew up a wound on his own leg. It's worth to note that he's also highly resistant to pain, and makes far less of a fuss than your average person would if put in some of the situations he finds himself in. We're never given a background for his character either. Javier Bardem's accent leads us to assume that his origin is some sort of Hispanic, but we're never given any confirmation for this.
400 years without sleep. Back to black.
The entire persona is one of ambiguity, mystery, and oddity, leaving us with a man who seems out of place in the world, an eerie figure from who knows where. He utilizes one of the primary tools in his arsenal, precaution and stealth.
Like life is a joke, fun and play. I've seen the innocent marrow fly. Mama lose her son in a drive-by. I've seen good friends turn foes. The killing of a child only Jah knows. I've seen the conscious become insane.
The rage while he's struggling with the deputy
in Jesus' name.
But the stealth, ruthlessness, and lack of emotion are present in the majority of scenes in which we find Anton. He appears to contain no discernible motive or purpose in his mission. Instead, it appears that he's doing this job simply for the thrill of the hunt. I say this because to me, it's never quite clear if he's chasing Llewellyn to take the money for himself or to complete the job. In one scene, he shoots his employer for hiring the Mexicans to hunt after Moss alongside him, chastising the accountant for his former superior's inability to see that for a job, you only need choose the one right tool. It could very well be that even though he's murdered one of the men at that company, he would still deliver the case back to them. Since he never expressly states that he desires to claim the money for himself, I think it's within his character to be a person who isn't concerned with money, and is rather, like I said, in it for the thrill of the hunt. What could break this theory is his killing of the two men at the site of the shootout in the desert who also belong to the same company, indicating that perhaps he is in it for the money. But to back this up, I'd like to draw some information from the novel that's much clearer on this subject. In the book, Anton ends up returning the money to his employer once he retrieves the briefcase. Here, he even tells him things will be run differently now. With this information, there are two reasons that would explain why Anton kills those first two men with the transponder. The first is that the head boss told him to do so. These basically didn't need to kill him, as he gave him the option of living. If it had been necessary, he would be dead. Instead, I believe this may be one of the ways Anton gets his kicks, and serves as one of the few things he does without an intended goal in mind. Though we do see him play with his food, so to speak, a number of times throughout the film, such as with Carson, Llewellyn, and Carla Jean. Another thing he lives by that defines his philosophy is pragmatism. He's careful with everything he does, and he's obsessed with using the right tool for a job. His conversation with Carson supports this, as he states, "If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule?" This man doesn't make any unnecessary moves, or place himself under any limitations that could lead him astray, and finds a way to accomplish his goal in the most efficient manner possible. Careless is not a word I would use to describe Anton. With the assumption that he's on this mission to eventually return the money to his boss, we can also assume that he is, in a way, a loyal man. This is sort of apparent when he doesn't kill the accountant in the office building, as the accountant didn't really do anything wrong, but he did see him. And he killed other people in the film who had seen him so they wouldn't go to the police. But I think because the accountant didn't do anything wrong, and he belongs to his own organization, he doesn't kill him out of principle. He's such a loyal man to his organization that he's cleansing his workplace of bad components that will only cause further damage the longer they're left out to rust. I think this is a pretty accurate summation of what Anton's values are, demented as they are. What I'd like to touch on now is the things that Anton lacks, namely a regard for human life, remorse, and empathy. If Anton had to kill a screaming little girl who in some way was in the way of him accomplishing his goals, he would do so without hesitation or a hint of remorse for his actions. He is a psychopath through and through, containing nothing we see in his character that is the least bit redeemable. The only halfway decent quality he has is loyalty, and that's not enough to paint him as anything less than a total psychopath.